All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, before I get started, as always, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashem Shai, Wahabar Chakodash, which Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father. Yahweh Shai, that's whom this world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, it's his true name. And the Chakodash, that is the Holy Spirit. And I would like to also give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And salutations to all you brothers out there. And just want to do a quick lesson that's based on some news, that happened today. And, they're basically, ending that whole Gaza war, out there, in the state of Israel, right? There's a whole ceasefire situation, and you had Trump. He made a statement saying, that there's going to be peace in the Middle East now, right? And you really got to ask yourself: is there really going to be peace in the Middle East? And according to the scriptures, for this time period, that we're living in, absolutely not. Okay. Absolutely not. See, eventually what's going to happen is those that live in the state of Israel, right, those Israelis, they're going to continue to pull this world into World War III. Because at some point, those Israelis, they're not going to keep their promise. Best believe that. Best believe they're not going to keep their promise. And eventually, what's going to happen is, they're going to start attacking those Palestinians again at some point, right? And when that occurs, these Arabs, right, which their biblical nationality is really Ishmael, they're going to start, uniting with one another, along with, these Persians, which are, these, Iranians, right? They're going to link up together. Oh, mind you, with Russia, okay, which, they're Edomites as well as those Israelis, okay? The point being, though, is they're all going to link up together, and they're going to fight America and the state of Israel, okay? That's eventually what's going to happen, because according to the scriptures, according to biblical prophecy and Revelation, right, it talks about how there's going to be three woes, okay? And those three woes represent World War I, II, and III. And that third world war has to happen, and it will, okay? Because during the third world war, America's going to get nuked and annihilated. The state of Israel is going to get hit as well. The only difference between America and the state of Israel is America will never be inhabited again. Okay, it's going to be a wasteland, a desert. Okay, but the state of Israel, it's going to get hit just in order for it to get cleaned up, because those Amalekites, all right, that live there right now, they're doing some very vile things. And the Lord has to cleanse that land before we, the true Israelites, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, enter into it. Okay? But I want to get this real quick, because the second I heard that statement, that Trump made about how there's peace in the Middle East, it made me think about 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter. That's immediately what came into my mind. Okay? And give me 1 second to get this. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. And I'll just start at 1. All right, this is 1 Thessalonians 5 and 1. But of the times and seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. Okay, so when Yahweh Shai, whom this world ignorantly calls JC, comes back, it's going to be when people least expect it. And mind you, before Yahweh Shai comes back, it's going to be a lot of business as usual, okay? Situations. Because this society, even though it's going to be crumbling, it's still going to be somewhat intact as well. Okay? You see? And a lot of people are going to be caught off guard. Alright? But let me keep reading. This is verse 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. Alright? So just wait. That destruction is going to come. There is going to be no peace in the Middle East until Yahweh Shai comes back. Okay? These Edomites, their whole assignment, okay, their whole program is to take peace from the earth. All right, let me get that real quick in Revelation, the 6th chapter. That's their job. So there will never, ever be peace in the Middle East while Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, is in rulership. It's impossible. He is the wicked. They are not, they're not the ones that are going to bring a utopia. Peace, tranquility. No. That's not their assignment. This is their assignment. This is Revelation 6 and 4, and it reads here, and there went out another horse that was red, which that represents Esau. Genesis, the 25th chapter, says what? He came out red all over like a hairy garment, right? That's the so-called white man. They're the only people in the world that don't have pigmentation like that. They were stripped from it. Because that's a curse from the Lord. That's a curse from the Lord. All right? You look at the entire world, and everybody is some type of brown. You see? But let me keep reading. This is Revelation 6 and 4. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. Okay, and then another thing, in Genesis the 27th chapter, Esau was blessed with the sword. And who's the most proficient in weaponry? Okay? That's something that people have to ask. And we all know who it is. It's the so-called white man, Esau Edom. He's the one that designs all these different, bombs, guns. He's into chemical warfare, so on and so forth. Okay? And they've done nothing but have taken peace from the earth. And it's very evident. The earth is falling apart right now due to this guy's, rulership. And they'll talk about how his society is so progressive, right? But it's really not. If it was, the world would be flourishing. Things would be thriving. But it's really not. As time keeps going by, more animals are becoming endangered or extinct, which, this is just my personal belief. I don't think animals are really extinct, okay? I believe the Lord has them preserved somewhere. That's just, and I talked about this with Eli Araya, I don't know when, this was a while back. But, we kind of just mentioned it to one another. And, the point being, though, is, animals are endangered, right? You got, what is that? Different ecosystems being destroyed, right? And it's all because of this guy. He's the one who's dumping all the chemicals and waste into, fresh bodies of water, lakes, rivers, in the oceans. He's got chemtrails in the sky. These different, trucks, cars, different, what do you call those? Plants, right? They produce a lot of pollution. And what's crazy is we can have all this modern day, technology, in use in our day-to-day lives while going green, so-called green, quote unquote, Things can get powered by, by solar energy, by electricity, whatever the case may be, right? But this guy, he's like, nah, not going to do it. We don't even have to use gas for our cars. You had the one Jake, I think he was in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. He found a way basically to use garbage, right, and turn that into gasoline. You had another guy that was able to use water to basically power up your cars, Magically, these people either die, or for like even this Jake right now, this was a couple months ago. He not that he got deleted or anything like that, but he kind of fell into the background because I'm sure he was getting a lot of threats. I'm sure he was approached, because you haven't really heard too much from that guy ever since they said that they were kind of mentioned that he might have died, which he didn't. He ended up saying that he was falling back. But point being though is this is what occurs, all right. But let me go back to that 1 Thessalonians. I didn't finish it. In 1 Thessalonians 5:3, I'll read it again. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Exactly. No one's escaping the judgment of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. See, that's what this world is trying to avoid right now, but it's not going to happen. You people are going to get punished for all the wickedness that you've been doing. Starting with Esau, Edom, all the way down to you different heathens, and even to 2/3 of our own people. Look, it's the time for the Lord to set things right. It's time for Yahushua to get this entire world in order. You see? And it's coming. It's coming. Let me keep reading. This is 1 Thessalonians 5:4 now. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, meaning us who are in this truth. Because we're expecting these prophecies to be fulfilled. We're looking for them. And we're getting excited when we start seeing them come to pass. Okay? So it says here, it says, but ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that the day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the dark, we are not of the night, nor of darkness. See, we've been enlightened. We've been illuminated, on the right-hand side. So we're not fooled about what's going on. See, these people, they're all excited and happy now. They're going to be, not showing up to these different, downtown areas and protesting anymore. They're going to relax. But like I said, eventually, those Edomites, they're not going to keep their promises. Those Amalekites aren't going to allow this to, they're not going to allow it to continue very soon. Let me get this real quick, because in the book of Psalms it talks about it, right? How they constantly break their covenants and their treaties. Roughly paraphrasing it. Let me get it real quick. I think it's Psalms 50 or 55. Give me one moment to find it. All right. This is the book of Psalms, chapter, I believe it's 55 though. This is Psalms 55, and I'll start at verse 20. It says, he hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. You see? Doesn't matter who it is. It could be the Israelites. It could be the Ishmaelites, Moabites, Ammonites, whoever, right? They'll try to, make peace with this guy. Have a whole deal, lined up, written out. And he'll still break that covenant, that contract that he made with whomever, he made that deal with. You see? And it says here, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Okay? See, that's all that's in his mind is warfare. He just wants to get you comfortable. He wants you to be relaxed. So you're not on your guard. You're not, ready for combat. So the second you let your guard down, he can stab you in the back. That's the spirit that Esau, even the so-called white man's, he's always in. Look, his language is violence. You can't talk to this individual. And that's why Yahushua is coming back, okay, with the sword. He's not bringing peace. Look, Yahushua is not playing with Esau. He's not going to be using his words with Esau. Yahushua is going to get straight physical with these people. All right? Let me see if there's anything else. No, that's it on that part. Let me get this, though. All right, because I mentioned it earlier about the third woe, right? Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I forget where this is at. I know it's in Revelation. I think it's in like 10 maybe. Man, this is Satan, man. Come on. Give me 1 second. Yeah, this is Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So there's got to be that World War III. Okay, as I mentioned at the beginning of the lesson. That's how you know that this statement that Donald Trump made about there being peace in the Middle East is false. At some point, something's gonna reignite that tension again. And like I said, what I believe is these Amalekites, they're not going to uphold their end of the deal. They're going to renege, basically, break the contract, break the covenant, right? And that's when these Arabs, they're just going to, start, joining together, start, clicking up with Iran, which their protector is Russia, and that's Ezekiel the 38th chapter coming into place. It says how Gog and Magog, which that's where the land of Russia is now, they're going to be a guard unto all these different nations. And one of the nations is Persia, which is modern day Iran. Okay? Basically all those North African countries, right? Libya, Ethiopia, right? You see? This is what's coming to this world. There's no way that there's gonna be peace right now. You see? Let me get this one too. Salakia. Give me 1 second. A little bit of traffic. Man, what scripture did I want? That's Satan. I was so worried about the guy behind me, I didn't know if he was going to crash into me. What was I talking about? The Third World War. What there was a... Damn, man. Man, I hate when that happens. But hey, just to quote that second Ezra, it talks about the dragons of Arabia. They're going to remember themselves, You see? This stuff is coming back. There's no way that they're going to prevent any of these things. Hey, the Lord's will be completed. That's what it is at the end of the day. The Lord's will be completed. Okay? You know? There's nothing that's what I wanted. These plagues, they're already sent. Okay? And it starts off with words. Then eventually they manifest, physically. Since these plagues are already sent, who can draw them back, right? I'm going to get that in 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter. Real quick. This is, where should we start? This is 2nd Ezra 16. And I'm going to start at verse, damn, man, there's a lot here. Oh, boy, man, traffic is always got to be ridiculous, man, especially once you get into the Jake areas. Never fails. Jake's always in a rush to literally nowhere. But this is 2nd Ezra 16, and I'll start at 3. A sword is sent upon you, and who may draw it back? A fire sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? May any man drive away a hungry lion in the woods? Or may any one quench the fire in stubble, when it hath begun to burn? May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer? The mighty Lord sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? And nobody can do these things. Okay, no one can stop judgment from Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay? No one can stop the judgment. It's going to happen. Whether people like it, believe it or not. Look, we don't care. Hey, we're just messengers. That's all we are. We're the men of the Lord that are ordained to preach this word. Okay? And if you got a problem with us, really, you got a problem with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay? Hey, you could go to our boss and go talk to him. You know what I'm saying? Now let's see how that goes. All right. But I'm gonna jump down just for time's sake, because I actually got to get going. But this is 2nd Ezra 16, and I'll get 14. Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. And you see all these plagues, like I said, they've really actually been already sent out via the word. And now things are just manifesting, physically speaking. That's it. That's all that we're seeing right now. And nobody's going to be able to stop these things. So there's not going to be peace in the Middle East. That's fake news, right? They used to push that the past couple of years, right? Talking about, fake news, fake information. Look, the fake news, fake information is what these people are trying to push. Hey, the real news is the gospel. The real news is what Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has written. Okay? But, that was just a quick lesson. I just wanted to do, something real fast, while I was in transit. And, that's basically it. And, hopefully whoever was listening was edified. And with that, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Also, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And salutations to all you brothers out there. Shalom.